Studio Ghibli is known for making masterpiece films, but I haven't watched a single one yet. So please, relax, adjust your headset to avoid a headphone dent, and join me in watching all 24 Studio Ghibli films for the first time ever. Completely blind too. Now, although this was released before Studio Ghibli was founded in 1985, it was still written and directed by Studio Ghibli's probably most notorious creator, Hayao Miyazaki. We will talk about Miyazaki and the background of Studio Ghibli more as the video goes on, but Nausicaä of the Valley of the Wind follows the adventures of Princess Nausicaä in a post-apocalyptic world where she strives to protect nature and peace. When an ancient weapon resurfaces in her valley, Nausicaä must prevent mercenaristic factions from seizing it to prevent a repeat of the calamity that devastated the world. But I gave this movie an 8 out of 10, and I would definitely rewatch this movie. The first half didn't grab my attention, but by the time Nausicaä was trying to get back to the valley and they were fighting and the Ohms were on their way back, that was when I didn't want to click off. I did find out there's a manga that I will most definitely read because it has significantly more content and story, which is what I want. As soon as the movie starts, we hit the ground running exploring the Sea of Decay, a jungle spoiled by toxic waste and human pollution, which is one of my favorite things about the movie, which is the world. The animals / insects, whatever you want to call them, they are really interesting to me. I find it really cool that Nausicaä's secret room is a garden lab where she grows the plants from the Sea of Decay in clean water and soil, which it also happens to be where she discovers that the spores do not create the poisonous gas when raised with clean water and clean soil, and came to the conclusion that the Sea of Decay is slowly removing the poisons from the earth, which is probably why she is so against the destruction of the forest. But anyways, back to the lab. I feel like it's some shit I would do, off topic, but in the past year, I have transitioned from the inside gamer who doesn't leave the room at all to someone who goes outside, touches the grass, and takes care of plants. And I have this newfound love for not only the outdoors, but for plant life. So I was drawn to the fact that the Sea of Decay and its life there played such a big part in the story. Something else is that before this year specifically, I had always been put off by old animation, but now it's starting to grow on me, and I am glad it is because the animation in this movie was top tier. From the Ohm's little crab mouth or whatever it's called to the fighting, it was all pleasing to my eyes. On the topic of the animals, I like the designs for all the creatures in this movie, especially her fox girl because it reminded me of my cat. Another thing about it, these guys' aim is the most atrocious shit I have ever seen in my fucking life, because how on earth are you missing that? All in all, a very good movie. It passes the new gen anime fan test. I would rewatch and definitely gonna read the manga. Another film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, Castle in the Sky is the first proper film from Studio Ghibli. Castle in the Sky is a story about a young girl named Shita, the owner of a mysterious crystal that certain people are after, and Pazu, a boy who hopes to fulfill his father's dream of finding the mythical floating island of Laputa. Shita and Pazu search for Laputa and make their way to the island before opposing groups do, and use the crystal to lay claim to the island themselves. I gave this movie an 8 out of 10. It was a good movie, I'm not gonna lie. Once again, Miyazaki captivated me in the world. I really enjoyed the part when they got with the pirates and traveling in the skies, although it was kind of weird how they were attracted to such a little girl. The twist of the guy being a part of her family was twisting. I didn't expect it in the least. I also really liked the message of the movie. The film conveys the idea of humanity's pursuit of power and technology, often driven by greed and materialism, can lead to devastating consequences for both the environment and society. The character that really shows this is Muska, trying to find the lost island in order to harness its advanced technology for his own gain and for military purposes. So I was very glad that he ended up dying. If you watch any of my other videos, you would know that I'm currently watching One Piece, and lots of it. So I don't know if that was the reason I saw so many things similar to One Piece. It may just be me reaching. The first thing was something I actually heard. Pazu's voice actor is Mayumi Tanaka, who is the voice actor of Luffy. Others of course, but in One Piece it's Luffy. It doesn't end with Pazu though. When he talked about his dad, he was giving very much Mont Blanc no land. His dad died being called a liar. This amazing land he said existed was in the sky. Okay, it may be reaching. Last but not least, the pirates in the movie are led by Mom, a big lady with pink hair.
Leave me alone!
So there may be other things, or I'm just grasping at straws here, but hey, here's Dr. Eggman. I would definitely rewatch this movie. It was a really good movie. It didn't have me as interested about learning about the world itself, but that's okay. It wasn't really a movie about that. I did really like the robots. I really like how the upper half of Laputa survived because, once again, the environment looked beautiful, and I'm very glad the whole island wasn't destroyed. Also, being confident in these is fucking insane. Kidding y'all, I saved it for last because I knew by the first few seconds it was going to be sad. So far, we've had a pure Miyazaki list, but he does have some amazing movies, and My Neighbor Totoro is no exception. I gave all these ratings right after I finished the movie, but I really sat for a second, and the more I thought about it, the more it flipped and flopped between a 9 and a 10 out of 10. Going into it, all I knew about the movie was that it included Totoro, a big, cute looking creature, and I thought he was going to be the main focus and like where he comes from, just things like that. But instead, I watched a movie that warmed my heart. Set in the 1950s of Japan, a father relocates himself and his two daughters, Satsuki and Mei, to the countryside to get closer to their mother, who is hospitalized due to a long-term illness. As the girls grow acquainted with rural life, Mei encounters a small bunny-like creature in the yard one day. Chasing it into the forest, she finds Totoro, whom she quickly befriends. Before long, Satsuki too meets Totoro, and the two girls suddenly find their lives filled with fantastical creatures of the woods. Let's start with something that has carried itself from all three films so far, which is the animation. The attention to detail in everything is breathtaking. From the Valley of the Wind's creatures, or the nature bit of the castle in the sky, or even the kitchen in Totoro, every frame is a wallpaper. Something specifically to Totoro that it does that nothing else in entertainment does for me is keeping me engaged without high-stake conflicts or elaborate plot twists. I watch these two little girls move to a house with their dad because of their sick mom, and they meet these spirits like 3 or 4 times, and I would rewatch it multiple times. Everything you hear about this movie is, this is the best movie ever, bleep bloop blop. I too came in with those expectations, and they were met in a way I did not expect. Maybe because recently I've been really wrapped up in the medium, wherein fighting is a constant or blood is everywhere. My Neighbor Totoro provided me with a refreshing departure from such intense narratives. Its heartwarming nature lies in its ability to capture the essence of childhood wonder, innocence, and resilience. It reminded me of the magic in the ordinary, the joy of exploration, and the bonds that form within the family. It's been so long since I've watched a slice of life anime. I have forgotten what it's like to just sit down and watch and not feel like I'm waiting for something else to happen. I think the forest spirits serve as symbols of comfort and friendship, the way they only appear to the children once they are missing a member of the family, revealing themselves to Mei when her sister went off to school, and when Mei and Tatsuki waited at the bus stop in the rain. It is also up to you on how you perceive them. The spirits could be a figment of their imagination, or Totoro just like the village hobo. Some more things I like were the dad. I found him really likable and just an older version of the girls. During the bus stop scene, expecting something heartbreaking to happen, I really thought he just left to get some milk, if you know what I mean. But no, he stayed, thankfully. A dislike, the goat. So fucking ugly. Why put him on my screen? I found what Tatsuki said to Mei about her not caring if their mom dies really fucked up. I understand she is also a child, but a child needs to be hit once in a while. Although Mei was my favorite character, I am sure if I saw more of the spirits, I would like them too. But other than that, every character in this movie was really likable. Kiki's Delivery Service is a story about a young witch on her mandatory year of independent life, who finds fitting into a new community difficult while she supports herself running an air carrier service. Now, I gave this movie a low 8, high 7 out of 10. Yes, I liked Kiki's Delivery Service, I enjoyed the city, I enjoyed the characters, I enjoyed her delivery service, but I can't put it above any of the other movies. Yes, it's a great movie of self-discovery, independence, and the importance of friendship. I love the beautiful animation, which captures the picturesque coastal city where Kiki begins her delivery service. While I understand that I gave it a rating that some might find too low because I feel like personally I lacked any emotional connection. While I acknowledge the film's strength in storytelling and animation, I find myself less emotionally connected to the characters compared to other Miyazaki films. I mean, in Totoro, I teared up a little bit. I did like that we weren't explicitly told that witches are not out of the norm, but people know they exist. We were told by the way supporting characters or just regular people in the city would interact or would react to seeing Kiki flying or the old lady trying to use the broom to fly. I also love the modernization of the time period where there's cars and stuff like that. Not 2023 modern, but like, you know, 1990 something, I don't know. Not only that, but the coastal city itself was beautiful. I love watching it from above or just still shots. I just really like the scenery. And my favorite part of the film was most definitely the cat Gigi. I really like the cat and the cat romance as well. Gigi is in fact the best character of Kiki's Delivery Service. Now so far, I have at least known something about these films. I've seen Totoro around on the internet. I have heard about the creator of Castle in the Sky, Princess Nausicaä, and Kiki's Delivery Service. Actually, all 4 of these are done by the famous Miyazaki. But this film, nothing at all, like 0. So this is a real, true, 100% blind watch. Now with that being said, I gave it a rating of 8 out of 10. The story follows Taikyo, a 27-year-old office worker in Tokyo who takes a vacation to the countryside to help with the safflower harvest and escape the city. While there, she reflects on her childhood and the choices she made in her life. The film beautifully intertwines Taikyo's past and present, blending coming-of-age elements with a sense of personal growth and the importance of reconnecting with one's roots. I'll be honest, in the beginning, I did find it kind of confusing how it would transition from past to present, but as I got to know the characters, then it was easy to follow. At first, the dad seemed like a total bitch, but then I kind of liked him a little bit more than the other family members. Oh, never mind. I found the mom and the sisters very, very, very irritating. Like, I understand wanting Taiko to eat, but to be honest, if her not eating something is such a problem and it is such a waste of food, then by all means, you eat it. Now, it might just be me and actually is ungrateful, but I don't care. Personally, I will take out the pickles from my burger every single time. I understand that the past was the past, you know, times can change, but I feel like in any time period, the boys are weird for doing this. Maybe it's because they're young, but when I was young, I wasn't looking up girls' skirts trying to find out if they're on their period.
Like it was only yesterday.
Oh my gosh, he said the title! Okay, in all seriousness, I really enjoyed this movie. Personally, I felt like I just read a book that I didn't expect to like. Oh, you thought we were gonna have a long break from Miyazaki? Nope. Porco Rosso is a former World War I pilot who, due to a mysterious curse, was transformed into a pig. Like, the most randomest shit ever, like, who now works as a freelance bounty hunter. The story unfolds with a mix of aerial dogfights, humor, and a touch of romance, as Porco navigates his complex past, confronts the airplane pirates, and comes to terms with his own identity. Now, to point out the pig in the room, I really enjoyed the fact that he was a pig. Apart from Piggy, the old man was my favorite character. The animation was amazing, just like the rest of Studio Ghibli films. I gave this movie an 8. I really enjoyed the soundtrack of this movie. I actually had some of the music in my playlist before I even watched the film, which was kind of crazy to realize. It is pretty insane that all of these little dots were just planes of dead people. I will be honest, I didn't quite enjoy the age gap between Theo, as it would basically be like a senior in high school with Drake Bell. And if you search up Drake Bell and high schooler, you can see just how that turned out.
Mr. Raccoon, can't you play with me somehow?
No, I can't. I'm eating dinner now.
What's for dinner? I want some.
Okay, we all really need to sit down and really talk about Pom Poko. If you just want the rating, here, have it. It's a 10 out of 10 in my eyes. Pom Poko is a 1994 film directed by Isao Takahata, which tells the story of shape-shifting tanuki or raccoon dogs battling urban development to protect the forest using their magical abilities of transformation and their giant ball sacks as tools and weapons. Now, throughout the video, you would know that I really like animals, and these raccoons were no exception. They aren't uber ugly, so that maybe has some bias at play. Now, I'll be honest, I couldn't give it anything below 9 out of 10. Very early on, I found myself rooting for these raccoons, who are usually characterized as annoying animals always in trash cans. The raccoons were funny and honestly at times smarter than the humans. 3 movies prior, I said in Kiki Delivery Service that I liked emotional connection with many of the characters, and I guess Studio Ghibli heard me and stuffed emotional connection down my fucking throat. I'm sure we all know the outcome of deforestation, one being animals losing their homes. As I said, I clicked blindly, not knowing anything about what was going to happen. Much less did I expect tears of sadness. With movies like these, I honestly expected the raccoons to come out on top. Something like the owner comes to the forest and experiences the raccoon scares, and then it's all done and the raccoons win. But nope, the brutal reality is animals can't just win. In 2022, 16,900 animal species were listed as threatened, more than double the number in 2007. Throughout the film, we basically live with the raccoons. We see them trying to fight back without revealing their secret, watching them grow, getting stronger, partying, fighting back, and seeing them fall in love. Unfortunately, nothing was enough, and no matter what they did, nothing could stop the deforestation. They know that their transformation jutsu is their only chance to get their home back. So they send 2 raccoons to get transformation masters from the islands to help them with their fight, waiting and waiting for help that just wouldn't come. In the meantime, more and more of the forest was being taken away and excavated onto other woods, causing suffering to even more animals, as well as food becoming more and more scarce due to the lack of forest and raccoons breeding. Raccoons were getting it on, alright? That's all I'm gonna say. Luckily, after patiently waiting, the masters finally arrived. They decided to spook all the humans away with a Halloween-like parade, causing so much strain to one of the masters that they died. Along with the raccoons, I thought it worked, still believing that the raccoons would win. But they lost another battle. Humans taking credit for what they did. After this, the raccoons were at their lowest point. They lost their one chance to take back the forest, and some just gave up on tricks and decided to fight the humans head on, losing. After seeing enough, the oldest of the elders and a large number of raccoons who couldn't transform went on a boat, dancing and singing in celebration of leaving this world of suffering behind, despite the fact that the closer they got to paradise, the closer they were to death. And so the ship crossed over to the next world, and the raccoons sailed away on a trip that they would never return. When all hope was lost, the second raccoon, tasked to find the other transformation master, returned, but the master had already been killed. Not only was hope gone, but the forest had transformed beyond recognition. With all hope lost, they decided to just have some fun and use their transformation jutsu to create the forest they once called home. It seemed to revive the past with not only the forest but also the life that was once there. Not only were humans able to see their past relatives, along with the raccoons looking at themselves as babies, running towards themselves only to be met by a human family, no trees or grass, only buildings and dirt. Experiencing the unwavering determination of these lovable tanuki, sharing their moments of joy and love, and ultimately bearing witness to their heartbreaking losses moved me to tears. The film's portrayal of these spirited creatures losing not only their hope, but also their loved ones and their cherished home struck a deep emotional chord with me, making it feel almost criminal. It's not enough on such a sad note, I enjoy the relationship Shokuchi had, and I love that he became a father of 4. I also found funny how she dropped her father's death on him the way she did. I mean, this movie was just so good. I mean, before an hour into the movie, I already knew I would rewatch it. I'm gonna keep it real. I was very angry that even as Operation Spectre was occurring, these fucking Neanderthals thought it was some parade. Like how? Once again, 10 out of 10 in my books. To me, Pom Poko showed the magic of watching movies blindly. If done well, then its emotional beats hit way harder. Directed by
Yoshifumi Kondo.
The story follows a young girl named Shizuku who loves to read and write. One day, she discovers that all her library books have been previously checked out by the same boy, Seiji. Curious to meet him, Shizuku follows a mysterious cat to an antique shop where she meets Seiji and his grandfather. Seiji is an aspiring artist and dreams of becoming a violin maker in Italy. Shizuku is inspired by his passion and determination, and she begins to write a story about a cat statuette named Baron that she sees in Seiji's grandfather's shop. In the end, Shizuku realizes that she wants to become a writer, and Seiji leaves for Italy to pursue his dream of becoming a violin maker. Whisper of the Heart is a heartwarming and inspiring story about the power of dreams and the importance of following your heart. It's a reminder that we all have something unique to offer to the world, and that we should never give up on our dreams, no matter how difficult they may seem. Now, personally, I would maybe rewatch. All in all, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I really did like it, but it wasn't anything too crazy. I don't care what actually happened. The old man died right here. Don't care. Both Shizuku and Seiji are in middle school, I believe, so I'm not sure that marriage vow at the end will work out, but okay, I'm kidding. Alright, relax. I'm sure they live happily ever after. While protecting his village from a rampaging boar god / demon, a confident young warrior named Ashitaka is stricken by a deadly curse. To save his life, he must journey to the forest far to the west. Once there, he's entangled in a fierce campaign that humans were waging onto the forest. The ambitious Lady Iboshi and her loyal clan use their guns against the gods of the forest and a brave young woman named Princess Mononoke. Ashitaka sees the good in both sides and tries to stem the flood of blood. This is met by animosity on both sides as they see him supporting the enemy. In the end, Ashitaka and Princess Mononoke are able to help the humans and the forest gods reach a truce. However, they also realize that the conflict between humans and nature is likely to continue as long as humans exist. Princess Mononoke is a visually stunning and emotionally resounding film that explores complex themes such as environmentalism and the relationship between humans and nature. The animation is simply breathtaking. The forest, the creatures, and the battle scenes are just incredibly detailed. I'm sure we can all agree that that boy Ashitaka is a demon with the bow. In the beginning, I hated the people of Irontown. I really hate people who force animals outside of their natural habitat, as you can tell from my reaction to Pom Poko, but in the end, I just hated Lady Iboshi. Personally, I think she should have died in the end, mostly due to the fact that I feel like she was giving very much Zhao. I give it a 9 out of 10, a very, very, very good film, and it makes sense why other people say it's amazing. Definitely would rewatch. My Neighbors the Yamadas was a film that genuinely surprised me. It follows the daily lives of a typical Japanese family in a series of vignettes that capture the ups and downs of family life. From the funny to the heartwarming, I gave it a 7 out of 10. I really liked the family. I found them all really cute. I didn't like how the son didn't go outside to play some catch with his father. Like, come on, bond with Papa, you know? Coming into this, I expected family that moves in and deals with their strange neighbors, the Yamadas. You know, like a basic plot. But no, it wasn't that, which I don't hate. Using a watercolored inspired animation style, the film has delicate lines and soft colors to create a nostalgic quality. Fun fact, it was actually the first Ghibli feature film to use computers for animation. Usually, if not like the more traditional animation style, like other Studio Ghibli films or styles like that, then it'll take me like a good second to get used to it, but this one was pretty nice and something I quite enjoyed. Power Rangers name drop? Best movie I've seen yet. My Neighbor the Yamadas was definitely one of those films that made a surprise push on my faves list. Now, depending on if it's your favorite film or not, Spirited Away is almost always in the top 3 of the best Studio Ghibli films ever. So far, I gave one movie a flip of the coin 9 or 10, and only one movie a 10 out of 10. Whether given by animal bias is irrelevant. I mean, will Spirited Away get a 10 out of 10? Yes, it did. Spirited Away is about a young girl who must work in a magical bathhouse to save her parents and return to the human world. From the moment you cross that river, you're greeted with visuals that are both stunning and imaginative. The bathhouse, the intricate character designs, and Yubaba's nose. Before anything else, let's talk about what happened before the river. 1, there was seriously no reason to go that fast, and 2, fucking horrible parents. They should be way more worried, especially since they have their daughter with them. Personally, what tipped it over the edge to get that 10 was probably No Face. No Face is a lonely spirit who is searching for a place to belong. He is also a reflection of the humans around him, as he is easily influenced by the greed and corruption. At first, No Face is a mysterious figure who is also very powerful, with even Yubaba struggling with him. However, as Chihiro gets to know No Face, she realizes that he is actually kind and gentle. He is simply lost and confused, as well as easily led astray by others. When No Face is around Chihiro, he is at his best. He's helpful and kind and does everything he can to please her. What made me like him so much is that he shows how important it is to surround yourself yourself with people who love and support you. When surrounded by people who want money, and more money, that's what he does and becomes an evil spirit. But once he is surrounded by people that support him, he is this calm spirit ready to help. By the end of the movie, the parents still suck, unsurprisingly. I would definitely rewatch Spirited Away, and I would put it up there as one of the studio's best work, which is what we expect from Miyazaki films. The Cat Return follows Haru, a shy high school student who saves a cat from being hit by a truck and is thanked by the Cat Kingdom's prince. As a reward, she is offered the prince's hand in marriage and is whisked away to the Cat Kingdom. With the help of a dapper cat named Baron, Haru tries to find a way back to the human world and avoid marrying the prince. At first, I thought it was a sequel to Whisper of the Heart, or even the story she wrote in the film, but no, it wasn't. There's no direct sequel to Whisper of the Heart, but there are some connections between the two films. They do feature both Baron. One I kind of forgot about is Muta, the fat cat. Definitely didn't mind that a big part of this movie was cats. It was also interesting that there were regular cats and cats with consciousness. Of course, normal cats have consciousness, but they don't have like a kingdom or a hierarchy or clothes even. So it makes me wonder if there's like a thing where cats are exiled to the human world and become regular cats, or do they come willingly and lose their ability to talk? Would cats that come to the human? I'm sure you can tell by now I like cats in anime. Not the king. He's fucking yuck. But everyone else is pretty good. Written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, of course, Howl's Moving Castle follows Sophie, an 18-year-old who is cursed by a witch and is transformed into an old woman. She seeks refuge in a moving castle of the wizard Howl, where she meets a fire demon named Calcifer and a dapper scarecrow named Turniphead. In the end, they break Sophie's curse and basically stop a war between two kingdoms. I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't what I experienced. Miyazaki has this thing with his films that before I even end it, I know I would rewatch it. And this film joined that bunch. Also, why was she just kissing everyone? But yeah, Miyazaki is on a crazy Linsanity run. 9 out of 10. Disney, what the fuck? Co-written and directed by Goro Miyazaki in his directorial debut, yes, Hayao Miyazaki's son, based on the Earthsea series of novels by
Ursula K. Le Guin,
and follows a man and a young boy. I'll just stop right there. I'm so for real. I found this movie so fucking boring. Honestly, 5 is generous in my opinion. Like that I almost fell asleep. I found it alright at most, but nothing I would spend my time on again when I could just spend my time rewatching Ponyo. A 5-year-old develops a relationship with Ponyo, a young goldfish princess who longs to become a human after falling in love with him. The movie is a magical and imaginative adventure that explores themes and acceptance, devotion, and love. The movie is visually stunning, and the animation is playful and fun. The story is straightforward and the characters are lovable, making it a heartwarming and enjoyable experience. Something I found quite refreshing is the quote-unquote antagonist is not even being a bad person. Like, it's just a dad trying to save the world. I also like the aquatic focus in this film, especially since I am definitely a mammal person, you know, cats, raccoons, and real life animals, stuff like that. So it's nice to get a film about aquatic life. Just overall a masterclass from the studio. 8 out of 10, a very enjoyable film. When I watched this film, it felt like epic, not like awesome. I'm referring to the movie Epic. Basically, a teenager finds herself turned into a small person, not those. 14-year-old Arrietty and the rest of the Clock family live peacefully as they make their own home from items that they borrow from the house's human inhabitants. However, life changes for the Clocks when a human boy discovers Arrietty. I like this movie. I give it a cool 7 out of 10. Now this lady, let me tell you something about her. She was doing way too fucking much. It wasn't like they stole the fucking game-winning lottery ticket from her. Personally, if I see little creatures, then I'll like low-key fuck with them. Like 500k or dinner with them. Fuck 500,000. I'm having dinner. Okay, I'm talking out of my ass. I'm lying. I'll take that 500k any day. I also wonder how they got this kind of furniture because they aren't like taking from the dollhouse. So how? Good movie. I would probably give it a rewatch. I'm sorry. This movie just felt like a yawn to me throughout the whole thing. Honestly, scrap the rating. Insect out of 10. The Wind Rises is loosely based on a true life story of Jiro Horikoshi. The story begins with Jiro's childhood dream of creating the perfect airplane and follows the incremental steps he takes to achieve that. The film has an extended break from Horikoshi's true story, sending the protagonist to a rural resort to rethink his airplane designs. In the hotel, Horikoshi meets a mix of international guests and they discuss the morality and ethics of his work within the period of turmoil. Something I could see with my eyes was that Levi's hair was getting bouncier as the movie went on. Maybe not entirely true, but it did in my eyes. Noses seem like a really prominent thing for Miyazaki for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's just for funsies. Also in this movie are some good mustaches. 9 out of 10. Found inside a shining stalk of bamboo by an old bamboo cutter and his wife, a tiny girl grows rapidly into an exquisite young lady. The mysterious young princess charms all who encounter her, but ultimately she must confront her fate. What I enjoyed most was actually her dream sequence when she ran away, where all the lines got all scratchy and stuff. It was very appealing for some reason. I did feel like this movie was a bit slow, but not like Tales of Earthsea slow. Also, the dad had so much potential, but he sold very quickly and fell off. Like, even I knew moving her to a mansion wasn't gonna be the best thing for her, and I wasn't even her dad, he was. Not only that, but at the banquet, he got some real mediocre musicians. If he really loved her, he would've gotten Cardi. I actually laughed when Biggie Cheese over here was angry over his fake treasure burning. On the topic of these guys, it's fucking insane to me how the princess must be this elegant, perfect, and beautiful person, but all these high value men, sorry, quote unquote high value men, are just a bunch of fucking babies. Now, the dream sequence with her and this guy was very interesting. So let me tell you about it. To begin, it was very funny how she asked him to hold her tighter and she immediately fell after. What I really want to talk about is how in the dream, he tells her how they should run away together. Just a teeny weeny fun fact for you guys. He has a family he is currently with. What the fuck? Besides that, the moon people did her very dirty by just kind of forcing her to leave. Anyways, 7 out of 10. This was a nice movie I actually kind of enjoyed. For the first time, I developed my own theory throughout the film, which was Anna and Marnie were going to develop a relationship. But, a very big but, the mysterious blonde Marnie is her grandmother. I gave it an incest plot for no reason whatsoever. I very much enjoyed the place she went, and I would love to go there after an asthma attack. Instead, I'm told to just breathe. 7 out of 10. 7.4 out of 10, nothing much to say here. Get it? I will say though, the ending did make my eyes a little watery. I would rather watch Monster House. What the fuck was this? 5 out of 10, horrible ending. Graveyard of the Fireflies follows the heartbreaking story of a young boy and his little sister struggling to survive in Japan during World War II. 10 out of 10. Like, no questions asked. What hit it out the park is technically the endings. At the very beginning of the movie, we see the end of our main character. A janitor picks up a can from his dead body and sends it flying, and what falls out is this mysterious white powder. Right after, the ghost of Setsuki appears from the can, followed by her brother. As the movie progressed, I believe the can was a way to show that she was there, you know, like symbolizing she was still with him. But it's at the end when she passes away and she's burned into ashes and put into that can that it clicked that the white stuff in the beginning, his sole possession at the end of his life, is the ashes of his little sister. This was the very first movie I had no notes for. Left and right, these two kids were hit with more and more heartbreak, losing their home, losing their mother, their sole relative they have contact with, treating them no better than strangers. But throughout it all, they had each other. Throughout the video, I usually say how I would rewatch this film, I would rewatch that film, blah 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 blah, but this one I kind of don't want to, even with it being one of the best on the list. It was just way too sad. Anyways, that concludes all 23. Don't tell me I fucking missed one. Decent movie, nothing special, but it was good. 6 out of 10. Now what a journey it was watching every one of these 24 films. I know every film was basically around the same rating, but that's due to every film having its own thing that made it good. Anyway, here's a real tier list. Now that I'm a long time removed from watching these films, I need to re-rank one movie, and that's Kiki's Delivery Service. My re-ranking is a 9 out of 10. I've been working on this video for months now, and I missed out on the thank yous for 2023, so I wanted to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed and continues to watch these videos. See?